Folks, welcome back to another episode of The Fallen Badge. Today we're going to look at the murder of Deputy George Selby, Shelby County Sheriff's Office, Tennessee. Deputy Selby was 32 years old. He had 8 years with the sheriff's office. Now, he was married and he had 2 kids. I believe they were both daughters, if I'm not mistaken. Now, the suspect in this case, he didn't have much of a criminal record, but he sure did jump to the big leagues awful quick. Now, most of the information for this case is coming from the Tennessee Appellate Court. Now, the day that Deputy Selby was to die, he had been at the house. He was babysitting one of his kids while his wife was at work. Now, she gets home from work and he fixes dinner for him, an early dinner. Now, his shift was 3 to 11. Now, one of the members of his team had gotten a search warrant, narcotics search warrant for 2433 Chattering Lane. Now, the raid team was going to be 12 people, 12 officers. Now, they got to the target house somewhere around 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the evening. According to testimony, it was already dark or low light. Now, the members of the raid team were wearing a ballistic vest, and helmet, goggles, and of course now their vest had the identifying police or Sheriff's Department logos on it, so they were readily identifiable. Now, the contention during the later trial is going to be that the suspect house had been broken into before and he thought it was somebody trying to break in. Now, that is the common defense used every time an officer seems like is shot carrying out a drug search warrant. And now, all the years I worked in police work, especially robbery and homicide, I don't ever remember a burglar or a home invasion crew hitting a house wearing ballistic helmets and vests, shields, picks, and rounds. I don't ever recall that happening. Now, Deputy Selby's going to be one of the shotgun men, and he's going to be the first or one of the first to go in once the door has been breached. Now, the description of how they were going to perform their entry according to the appellate court's a little bit different than the way we did it in Memphis. Now, our first guy through the door was the shield man, then the shotgun man. I never saw a mention of a shield man, but that doesn't mean they didn't have one. Now, according to the investigators, when they got up to the house, porch light was on and the living room light was on. And they had officers go to each corner of the house. Now, the entry team goes up to the front door, and the pick man, he takes the pick and he bangs on the iron door. There's a security door and then a wooden door. So he bangs on the steel door and he announces Sheriff's Department search warrant, which is basically what we would holler. We would holler Police Department search warrant. You'll have people that'll claim up and down that the police don't ever knock and announce. Well, the reason we do is because it's safer for us if we do. Because if we do, anybody inside the house should know then it's the police outside. Or at least it's a good start to maybe carrying out a safe search warrant. Now, once there was no response from inside the house, the pick man, he sticks the pick into the iron door, and the officer carrying the round, he pops that pick and it forces that iron door open. Now, once it's open, then the round man hits the wooden door, and he'll hit it right there at the doorknob. Now, according to the investigators, when they hit that wooden door, it cracked open about 4 to 6 inches after the first blow. Now, according to the officers, right after that ram hit the door, gunshots came from inside the house. One of those gunshots went through the front door and struck the victim, who was on the front porch. Deputy Selby must have had his body turned or bladed towards the door, because the bullet is going to strike him up under the arm in that area that the vest doesn't cover. Now, Detective Selby, he falls off the porch, and then officers began returning fire, and the gunfire from the deputies is directed at where they believe the gunshots from inside the house are coming, specifically a front window. Now, after the gunshots stop, they send the dog into the house, and this dog is trained to bring people out of the house. So the dog goes in, gets one of the suspects in the house, and brings him outside. They send the dog back in, and it brings out the second suspect. Now, one of the suspects, the one that had done the shooting, he had been wounded in the hand, and the deputies found a silver revolver in the hallway. Now, one of the suspects, there was the 2 suspects in the house. One was in the living room laying on the couch. The shooting suspect was in the back bedroom, or in a bedroom off from the living room. Now, the one on the couch that did not do any shooting, he testified in court that he heard something at the front door. And then he heard the door get hit, a loud boom, and then he heard people outside saying, "Police, sheriff, put your hands up, don't move." He said he also heard someone say search warrant, which that would corroborate what the deputy said when they attempted entry into the house. He said he also could see people outside that were police officers, and he could see guns pointed. Now, he said he saw the suspect come out with his pistol, and he said he told the shooting suspect to don't shoot. They're police officers. And he said the suspect shot anyhow. According to this suspect, he said the shots were fired from the hallway inside the house. Now, when the shoot team for the sheriff's department got to the house, they said near as they could figure, they counted 15 .45 caliber bullets and 3 rounds of double-aught buck that were fired into the house. And he said there was at least 3 rounds fired from inside the house that went through the front door. Now, they did the ballistics on the pistol, and the round that killed Deputy Selby came from that pistol, which the suspect was armed with. Now, according to the M.E., Deputy Selby died of a gunshot wound to the chest. He said the fatal round struck the victim's armpit area, grazed his upper arm, went between the 3rd and 4th rib, severed the artery and the vein underneath the 3rd rib, entered the right lung, caused extensive bruising of the heart, and entered the spine at the 6th vertebrae, fragmenting bone and crushing the spinal cord and exiting the body. He said there was an external abrasion on the victim's body. That's where the bullet came out of the body, hit the ballistic vest from the inside, and then bounced back and hit the body again. Now, it didn't re-enter the body. It just bruised it. Now, they had a trial for the suspect, and he was found guilty of murder. And I believe he was given life plus 100 years. Obviously, he's appealing that. And Deputy Selby died for just the ignorance of this suspect. 1 in a million shot fired by an idiot. Deputy George Monroe Selby. End of watch, December 4th, 2002.